Hi, my name is Tina and welcome to Knitting Blooms, episode 14. Today is Sunday, July 31st, 2011, and again, welcome. Thank you for stopping by and watching the show. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, I'm glad you stepped by to check out the show. I hope you enjoy it. Quite a bit to talk about today, so I'm going to jump right in. There's not really this week, there wasn't really anything that happened that was crazy or worth mentioning, actually. I mean, it was my normal week. I go to work every day, I come home, I work out most days of the week, and I knit. That's about it. I kind of lead a pretty boring life, but I enjoy my knitting, and that's all that really matters. This week I have been trying to get back into my harder workout program. The last few weeks I've really kind of been slacking off. I was sick for a while there, and I never got back into my harder workouts. I've been walking and doing a little bit of running, but not a whole lot. But I have been trying to get back into my harder strength training workouts. So that is going well. I'm still in that stage again. Whenever you start a strength training program again, or working new muscles that you haven't worked in a while, your muscles are a little bit sore. So I'm still kind of in that stage a little bit, but not so much. I'm going to jump right into finished objects, and I have 3. Yes, last week, if you remember correctly, I was nearly done with The Traveling Woman when I recorded, and I did finish it. I think I want to say I have 1 row and the bind off left, or 2 rows in the bind off. And I did finish it, and here it is. And I still love this pattern. This was a really, really nice pattern to work with. It was simple, but had the nice lace work in it, simple to do. If you're contemplating doing lace, try this pattern. If you purchase the pattern, there's you can do everything from lace to, I think, worsted. So you could try it with a worsted weight yarn if you kind of feel uncomfortable with the lace, but it's a really nice pattern, and it's really simple to follow along. I really enjoyed it, and I am finding, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it here as I'm holding it up, but I'm going to insert a picture as well. I'm finding that I like the shawls that have more of the kind of a crescent or something at the top, rather than the triangle shawls that go straight across. And I think the reason for that is because they seem to sit on the shoulders better than the straight across ones. The straight across ones, it takes a little bit more work to keep them on the shoulders if you're going to wear them as a shawl. If you're going to wear them more like a scarf around the neck, maybe the triangle shawls are perfectly fine. But this one has and what it is that causes this to be that crescent at the top is the increases at the top on both right and wrong side rows. That's what causes that. When you're just increasing on the right side rows, you'll get that straight across triangle shaped type of shaped shawl. But when you increase on both sides, you'll get that crescent. And the last shawl that I did like this was the Demeter shawlette, and I really liked that, and this one as well. This went quite well. I didn't block it real hard. I just laid it out. I'm really finding that with lace and shawl type things that are looser knit, it's amazing how much they really bloom and stretch when you soak them and then block them. I did pin down as you can see, I have points on here. So I did pin these down. I did not pin down the top at all. I left the top loose. I didn't pin it at all. I just kind of pulled it once I got the pins down in the scallop at the bottom, and stretched it out and made sure that the wings stretched out and were taut at the top. But it came out nicely. I am thinking about giving this to my grandmother. I was thinking I would wait until Christmas to give it to her, but there was a piece of fuzz in the air. You're probably wondering, what is she batting at the air for? It's like the cats. Anyway, sorry about that. I was thinking about giving this to my grandmother for Christmas, and I just found out that she was in the hospital. Nothing major. She had some foot surgery. She has I think my mother called it some pronation in her foot, how she walks. So she had some surgery to kind of realign her ankle over top of her foot. And so she was in the hospital, she had the surgery, everything went fine. She's now in a nursing home for a few months for rehabilitation. I want to say she's 83, 84. I think my dad's going to be 63 this year, so I think my grandmother is either 83 or 84. She might have just turned 84. So I was thinking, like I said, sending it to her for Christmas, but I think I might send it to her now because she might need a little pick-me-up. So this will probably be going in the mail to her as soon as I can get an address at the nursing home. I'll probably be calling my father later today to get that address. So I really like this pattern, and if you are intimidated by lace, try it with worsted weight yarn, because maybe it's just that intimidation of the lace. And use lifelines. That's all I can say. This yarn again was the Knit Picks Gloss. Every time I picked this up, and I've mentioned this before, every time I picked this up after working with other yarn, I felt like it was an acrylic-y feel. It does not feel that way as I touch it now. It feels like a nice fabric, but working with the yarn, and maybe it was the heat also that kind of combined it with it, but it wasn't the best yarn to work with, but it is a nice yarn, and it does block out very nicely. I do have 2 more skeins of this, and I'm thinking about making something for my mother-in-law with it, because it's I'm thinking like maybe a lacy scarf, because it's like a tan, and she wears a lot of black, tan, and white. So I'm thinking about that. I haven't decided just yet. But again, this is going to be going in the mail to my grandmother very soon. I also finished, and I'm just ignoring the fact that I'm wearing a finished object, but we're going to get to that in a minute. I also finished the baby surprise jacket, and I haven't put any buttons on it yet. After I finished the Iris Mystery Shawl, which I'll talk about in a couple minutes, I picked up the baby surprise jacket to work on it this week, and then I realized how close to being done that I actually was. So I kind of just motored through it and got it done. And it is very cute, and I really like it. Again, this is the Artyarn, I think it was Supermerion, I want to say Supermerion, that I had previously made a sweater out of for myself, and I did not like the way that it's kind of striped on me. It was a stockinette sweater, and it striped really funny right at the bust line, and you know, no matter what, big, small, whatever size you are, you don't want to accentuate your bust, really. At least I don't. So I didn't like it. I ripped it out, and I knew I was going to repurpose the sweater, the yarn some other way, and I thought this would be the perfect thing. And it is very cute. It came out nice. You can see that on the back, you can see it a little bit better. Down at the bottom, when I was working the center stitches for a number of ridges, you can see it kind of did a different kind of effect on the variegation, but that's fine. It's a baby sweater, you know. What I like about baby garments is that really you can use any type of yarn with any pattern and make different sizes. So let's say, for instance, you have a fingering weight a pattern that calls for fingering weight. You can use it. You can knit it in worsted weight if you want. It's just going to make a bigger sweater. And babies grow into sweaters. So it doesn't, if you like a pattern and it's a certain weight yarn, you can use different yarn, and just it might not be the size that it's calling for. Like if you're knitting a 12-month size for a fingering weight and you use worsted weight, obviously it's going to be for an older child. Now you can't take a worsted weight yarn or worsted weight pattern and knit it in fingering weight for a newborn and expect it to fit a child, maybe a doll, but not a baby. But that's what I like. So I really, when I'm doing baby garments, I don't really think too much about yarn and weight, as long as I know it's going to fit somebody at some point. So that's this. I'm guessing that this would fit maybe up to like a 18-month. I don't know what size babies are. I don't have any kids, so it looks like it would fit a 1-year-old, you know, maybe even an 18-month-old. I don't know. I'll give it to somebody at some point and it'll fit their child, because more than likely it'll be a baby that I give it to somebody. I do have to get buttons for it, but I have nobody to give it to right now, so at this moment I'm not in any huge rush. On this pattern, I do like the fact that they tell you to put the buttonholes on both sides. You have buttonholes on this side and you have buttonholes on this side. And then when you decide if it's going to be for a boy or a girl, and I don't even know what side the buttons are supposed to be on for a girl or a boy, but whatever side you put the buttons on, you just put the buttons right over that buttonhole, sew the buttonhole up, and then it will be perfectly in alignment with the buttonhole on the other side. Or you could do it the other way. I think that's kind of neat. And actually, I would probably do that with all my sweaters, because then I know where to put the button. I don't have to try and figure out where to put the button. I would just make sure that buttonholes are on both sides, are lined up, and then I can just put the button right over that buttonhole. So that is finished object number 2. And then, of course, I have my Iris Mystery Shawl. And I am wearing it as sort of like a capelet. I tried a few different ways to wear it, and I liked this way the best. I really like how it came out. I'm going to just take it off. I did think about, when I first was trying on different ways, I did think about possibly putting a button here, but then I remembered, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a tiny little shawl pin, and it really is the perfect thing. It's just a tiny little thing to just hook it together just a little bit, and it really is perfect. So I'm going to take this off so I can show you. And this pattern came out absolutely beautifully. I was a little concerned when I went to block it about the cast on. I didn't think that I made the cast on loose enough, because the cast on, you can see, has absolutely no give whatsoever. I am actually pulling on that, and there is no give. I mean, I stretched it to an inch of its life. And I was concerned because you have the cast on, and then, like, I don't know, 6 rows or so later, you have a major increase, a double your stitches increase. So at the time when I was doing it, I didn't think it was that bad, but then when I got further down in the pattern, I was really concerned. But it came out fine, and it works great. I did the cross stitch down at the bottom, and I had wanted to do 3 of these repeats, this section here. I had wanted to do 3, but I started weighing my yarn before I started the first one. And I did the first one and I got an average, and I thought, no, there's just no way that I'm going to be able to get 3 of them in there. So I went with 2, and that was fine. And then I did the, I think it was the loopy edging. It wasn't with the beads, and there was something else. So I did that, and that worked out great. I had thought about doing the same cast off that I used for the Traveling Woman shawl, which was a very stretchy bind off where you purl and then slip that stitch back over and purl together. I started that. I got about halfway, not even halfway, probably a third of the way through, and realized that I was going to run out of yarn if I didn't turn back. So I had to back up and recast off. But it came out, this shawl came out absolutely beautifully. What I like so much about this pattern is that the repeat sections are, you know, 8 rows or 6 rows, and then you have a section of like a garter stitch or something in between where you can do your increases to get to the next section. So you can, if you have more yarn, you can do more repeats, or you can just stop like I did. I stopped where instead of doing a third one of the cross stitches. So that I really liked a lot. That I could have done, if I had more yarn, I could have done more of this section, and then I could have done more of this section, but I'm glad that I didn't, because I would have run out of yarn, because really, this is what I had left. It's a little over a gram. A gram. I mean, so that's probably, I don't even know how many yards it was. I didn't even measure it, but it was like 1.3 grams. So I had barely enough to finish it. But if I had used another yarn, I think this ball, I didn't bring the ball band over, but I think it had 435 or 460 yards. So if I was using something else that had, say, 600 yards, I could have done more of those sections. And because I like how well this came out, and the patterning of the yarn and the texture of the stitches, it's very possible that I will do this shawl again. I'm actually surprised that so many people were ripping them out. A couple of podcasters started this project and then frogged it halfway through. People on the Knitting Blooms group even finished the entire project, cast off, took pictures, everything, and then decided they didn't like it and frogged it. So I thought that was kind of crazy, but because I thought her shawl was absolutely gorgeous, but she didn't like it, and she decided she's just gonna reknit the yarn. And I guess if you're not really happy with a project, that's the best thing to do, because what's the point in having something that you're not really happy with? So this came out beautifully. I love it. I will definitely wear it. It is my colors. It's gorgeous. I'm very happy with it. I'm going to put it back on. Well, maybe I won't, because it is kind of warm down here. So I just don't want to lose my shawl pin there. And and this is also my second cup of coffee, so if I start talking really fast and going crazy, then that's why. So I'm sorry about that if that happens. That's probably why I'm swatting at things in the air. So so let's move on to whips. Oops, now I've trying to call Cody over here. Everybody who's mentioned, come here. Everybody who's mentioned stuff on the boards, they want to see my kitties. And this is Cody. He is my biggest cat. He's like, I don't even know how many inches he is if you took him feet to feet. But he's the biggest cat, but he's the biggest baby. So this is Cody. He doesn't like his paws touched. He doesn't like his nails cut. He gets all upset if he has his nails cut. He doesn't like it. He has issues. He's on medication for mental problems because he's just the biggest baby. But he's so lovable when he's cute. Yes, when he's not upset about something. So that's Cody. So now we will get into our whips. He's gonna sit there. I tried to get Sammy to come down to come and be part of the show again. She came down here, but she's decided to take residence over in the other chair. So I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on the Iris Mystery Shawl. If I didn't, we'll get back to it. Anyway. Okay, on to Bacardi. It has seen a little tiny bit of love. Not a whole lot. I think I was about right around here somewhere last week. I may have done those stitches, but those rows there, but I don't remember. Anyway, here we are. This is how far I've gotten so far. And again, still loving it. You can kind of see a little bit of puckering with that with this row right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video, but there is a tiny bit of puckering. I'm hoping that once I block it, stretch it, and block it. Hang on one second. I just want to find where my needles are so I'm not dropping stitches all over the place. I'm hoping that when I soak it and block it, I can kind of pull it out a little bit. It's not, the floats are not tight, so I think it'll be fine. I think it's just the way that it looks right now. But I'm still loving the way the colors are coming together. I'm getting very excited about moving forward with it. I have thoughts in my mind that I'm going to also steek the arms, to work the arms side by side and steek them. Not sure how I'm going to do that just yet, but I'm working through that process in my mind while I'm working on this. I think I'll probably do it in the round, and I probably will, you know, just have on this one, where's my steek section? On this one I have one steek section here, but on the sleeves I would have one at each edge, you know, so I'd have a sleeve here and then a steek section, and a sleeve on the other side. That's what I'm thinking in my head right now. I haven't gotten that far yet, and I might even do a little swatch to see how that's gonna work. I think it'll be fine, but I don't know yet. So this is coming right along. I hope to get, you know, more progress on it. I work on it. I worked on it for a couple hours last night while I was watching Harry Potter. I saw the last movie, but then I wanted to go back and watch all the previous movies, and my thought was last weekend to watch all of them straight through. Well, on Saturday I only got through 3 movies. I thought I was going to be able to get through all 7. Yeah, 7, because I have all of them. I only got through 3. I don't know how I thought I was going to watch 14 or plus hours of Harry Potter on one day, but I didn't. So I was still watching them, and then this week I kind of picked up one or whatever. So I worked on it for a couple hours last night, and I just did, I don't know, about 1.5 inches or so. So it goes pretty quickly when I work on it, but I have to work on it. So that's still coming around right along, and I'm still cutting cutting after the rows, only if it's going to be more than 4 rows before I use that color again. But that's coming right along. I'm really enjoying the colors and all of that. The sock yarn blanket, I did want to try and work on this week a little bit, but I didn't. So there's nothing to show you new on that, as well as the Modified Lady Eleanor. I did pull it out. It did go in basically my knitting bag that I carry with me to work and stuff like that. Because when I go to work, I always bring my computer and my knitting and anything that I might want to do, because I never know how much time or how little time I'm gonna have to do those things. But I don't like to be bored, and I don't like to be idle. that I don't like to be. But alas, I did not work on the modified Lady Eleanor either, so I won't even show you that. I did start swatching for a new Knitting for Hire, and I meant to bring the pattern over here. I think the pattern is called On Pointe. I think that's what it's called. It's in the spring 2011 interweave, I think, but it's going to be a Knitting for Hire. I started doing my swatch, and I'm a doofus. Lately, I've had to go down a needle size on most of my projects. So, this project called for 10, and I started my swatch down here on a 9. Well, the 9 was too big, so I went to a 7, which was here. And I measured, and I'm like, why? I couldn't figure out why I was still getting like 10 or 12 stitches per inch. Or for the 4 inches, for the full gauge. So, I'm like, okay, I dropped down. I was going to drop down to a 6, and I thought, no, that's not going to work. So I dropped down to a 5, and I knit another section. And then I measured it again. And then my brain started to work. When I was measuring my swatch, I usually start at the number 1 rather than 0, because I don't like to measure that close to the edge of the ruler. So when I was counting from 1 to 4, which is 3 inches, not 4 inches. And so that's why I was getting, you know, so few in the space that I thought I was supposed to get it into. Because I kept thinking, why? I was on a 5. I was thinking, this is ridiculous that I was having to drop down 5 needle sizes. Well, I didn't, because really, I was measuring wrong. So, in fact, on the 5, I was getting, and then when my brain started to finally work, I was realizing, now I've got way too many. I had like, I want to say like 22 in 4 inches. So, anyway, I went back up to a 7. I'm kind of happy with the 7, but I'm doing another swatch with 8s, just because the 7, I could get the 16 and a half stitches per inch if I stretch it a tiny bit. And I wasn't real happy with the fact that I was going to have to stretch it. Obviously I haven't taken this off the needles to soak it and block it, whatever. But I'm going to do one more little section, and I don't know if you can see here, you might be able to, but in between each section I have a section of garter stitch, then I have stockinette and garter stitch and stockinette and garter stitch and stockinette. So I know where that section starts. So I am going to do another section of stockinette on the 8s, just to see if I like the 8 better than the 7. And then I'll decide if I get less than, you know, if I get the 16 and a half stitches that I hope to get with the size 8, then that's what I'll go with. If I'm looking like I'm going to get less than 16, then obviously I will go back to the 7 and then do the little stretchy stretch. After I do that, I will cast this off and soak it, and just to make sure. And this yarn is the yarn that is called for in the pattern, which is Louet KidLine. So it's linen and kid mohair as well as some nylon. And it is a lace weight. There's 250 yards per ball, and I think that the size that I'm knitting for this person is takes 5 balls. So that is another Knitting for Hire, and I will be able to show you that because that is a pattern that has already obviously been released, and it is in a magazine. I did get word that I have another secret Knitting for Hire that I will be starting some point very soon because it has to be finished. I think it's by September 2nd. So I'm hoping that I get the yarn for that this week so I can get started on that. And from all your comments, I know that you don't want to hear me talk about it because I can't show you anything. I'm just mentioning that so that you know what's going on in my knitting world and why I can or can't get progress done on other projects. So, moving right along to spinning, I did do a tiny bit on the Yarn Hollow BFL and Tussah Silk this week. Not too much, but a little bit. I am really enjoying this so much better now that I know that I don't have to pre-draft the fiber. I guess the reason I didn't do much on this is because I was, busy trying to finish those other projects. But what I did do this week is that instead of flicking my spindle kind of like this, like I'm doing now, I was rolling it on my leg to get the spinning to go faster for longer. And that really helped extend the spinning time of the spindle so I could get more drafting. So this is coming right along. Again, I know that this project is going to take a while to do, and that I'm okay with that. The first third is done and waiting patiently on the bobbin for me to do the next. And I did start the 4 Rivers yarn and fiber, which is what was voted on. I split the fiber up. This is I'm going to do this one in a 2-ply. So I split it down the middle, and I don't know if other people have the same problem, but as I'm splitting it down the middle, it was splitting down the middle most of the time, almost equally, but then there were some sections that would somehow get off, so I'd have to kind of manipulate that a little bit. And then this ball was slightly heavier than this ball, so I just pulled off a hunk at the end, to try and equal it out. So I have, I think, about 56 or 57 grams in each ball. I have spun up, I think it's about 7 grams, because that was the chunk that I pulled off of this ball. I've already spun that up, and that is right here. And it is coming out quite nicely. Let me pull it out a little bit. And I think I'm spinning this a little bit thicker than what I spun the last fiber that I did, which is good because it's going to be a 2-ply and I don't want it to be extremely thin. I am getting a pretty consistent fiber or thread or whatever you want to call it. Oops, hang on a second. I'm winding my bobbin and I'm just winding it around all this fiber that's in my lap. Okay. So, when I'm spinning, I'm going to show you this, and I'm hoping that you can see this against my white shirt. When I'm spinning, occasionally I'll get a little bit of fiber or a little bit of the thread that's a little bit thicker than the rest of it. And when I get that, I take a moment and I just kind of pull some of that fiber out to thin it out a bit. I don't know if this is going to weaken. Usually I do it when I'm spinning it so it will spin again. But I don't know if that'll weaken the thread or not, but in order to keep it more consistent, that's what I do. So I have been spinning this up. I started spinning it last night, and then I did a little bit this morning as I was having my breakfast and watching podcasts. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but it's coming out very nicely. And I did get through most of what I spun was like this color here, and then some of the yellow. So we'll see how it goes as it goes through. I'm looking forward to getting to these darker brown colors and the teals. So it's going to be fun. And again, I am going to do it as a 2-ply. I'm hoping, what was I hoping to be able to make with this? I just downloaded a pattern. Oh, it's the Rock Island. Wendy from Knit One Heart 2, Sheila and Wendy. Wendy, she's doing the Rock Island, and she has been kind of complaining about how you have to start with the lace pattern, edging, and then you start then you go back and I don't know if you pick up the stitches or if they're on your needle. I don't remember how she was doing that, but then you knit up and then you knit a lace section, and then the rest is kind of a garter stitch or whatever. And I had heard of this pattern before. I didn't remember it. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But then when she was kind of showing the border, you really couldn't see how beautiful it was. And then she started working on the body, and I was seeing the stitch pattern a little bit more because it's more of an open stitch pattern. And I'm like, that is a gorgeous shawl. So then I went back and I found it in Ravelry, and I realized, yep, I've already favorited that shawl. So I decided I was going to go ahead and purchase the pattern, and I'm hoping that I can get enough yardage out of this to make that shawl. I think it's nearly 700 yards, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but if I can get 440 yards out of the same weight, which is 4 ounces, with a 3-ply, I might be able to get 600 yards with a 2-ply, maybe. Probably not, but it's worth a shot. You know, if I don't get it, maybe I'll be able to find a color that I can do the lace in or something to add to this, but we'll see. That's my idea right now. It may or may not happen, but we'll go with it for now. Also, this week I have started to receive donations for Knittopia, which will be held in April, from April 12th through 22nd, 2012. This week we received donations from Barocco and Crystal Palace. And each week I'm going to just throw those out there to you. I'm not going to show the prizes because I like the prizes to be secret, you know, so that when people win them at the retreat, it's a surprise. So I'm not going to show the prizes on here. I'm just going to mention it, you know, and then I'll put a link in the show notes, and hopefully it can generate some business for them as well when I announce it, or people want to go and check out what they have. I have been hearing back from some other indie crafters that have said that they want to make a donation, but I haven't received those things yet. But as I get them, like I said, I will announce them and share that with you. The prize drawing that will be held next week. You have another week to enter. The prizes that will be given out are going to be, one person will win a mug, a Knitting Blooms mug, and one person will win pattern, a giftable pattern on Ravelry. There will also be a book. I haven't decided which. I have a few books that I have purchased duplicates of, or I have duplicates of, and so we'll see. That will be held next week. I also want to mention or thank or what have you, those people who have taken the time to post a review on iTunes or to provide a star rating. That really does help other people find the podcast, and, you know, to see what other people are saying about it. Sometimes people like to read those reviews just to see, you know, if they want to take the time to to watch the episodes. So thank you very much for that. And we are up over 230 members on the Ravelry board, on the Knitting Blooms group on Ravelry. So that's very fun. What else? I think that's it, except for my stash enhancement. I'm saving it for the end, so if I have to cut it short, I have to cut it short. So, this week, I was quite bad. I made lots of purchases. I'm supposed to be stashing down and not buying things because my cabinets are literally now completely maxed out. I mean, I don't think, I might be able to get one more ball of wool mice in there or one ball of sock weight, but really, it is completely maxed out. I do not need to be buying any more stuff, but the enablers on Plurk, it happens. One of the first things I bought this week was from Lois at Knittings My Bag, and this is what I bought, this bag. And a couple things about this. First of all, I didn't realize it was padded. It's like a kind of, it's not quilted because there's not like a, I mean, I guess it is quilted, but there's no quilt like embroidery on the top. But it is thicker, it's nice and padded. That, and I didn't realize how big it was. It's really hard to tell how big something is, but it's really big. And in addition to that, it comes with this other small little bag, which is also padded and or quilted or whatever. So I've been looking at this bag for a few weeks now on her website. I'll go to her website. I've been wanting to get one of those ones with the knitting fabric, but they always seem to be sold out. They probably sell out very quickly, and I was kind of holding off for that one. But then this was like the second thing that I've looked at. And it's been sitting there for a while, and I keep going back and seeing it. And I thought, you know, this week, I said, that bag is still there. That must be my sign that says I am supposed to purchase that bag. So I did. So I have a nice little, I'll probably use this bag for like a pair of socks or another small project. And then I have this bigger bag. So I'm very excited about that. And then this bag is also filled with a bunch of other stuff that I purchased this week. One of the things was the Knitting Lace Triangles by Evelyn Clark. I've been wanting this book since my friend Valerie told me about it a while ago. I would say maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago. I can't remember. And I've been wanting it, and I've been looking at it on Amazon, and a couple times I've almost purchased it. Well, 2 weeks ago, I decided to buy it on Amazon, and when I went there, it's out of stock on Amazon, and you can buy from another seller, but they're like $45, and I'm like, I'm not paying $45 for that book. Well, then I saw it on Webs, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go buy it on Webs, so I went over to Webs, and it was sold out on that one. So I just kept looking around, and I finally did find it on the Elaine, I think it's Elaine website. So I purchased it, and that came this week. I haven't had a chance to even look at it. I've kind of flipped through it briefly, but not too much with it. And the reason I bought this was because I'm doing the Master Knitters program, and this is one of the books that they recommend. Plus, with all the lace shawls that I've been doing lately, I've been wanting to design a shawl. And so I thought this might help me in getting to that point. So that was a book that I purchased this week. And then one of the things that I purchased because Lois showed it on, Lois at Knittings My Bag showed it on Plurk, was this. She posted it and she said how cool it was and that she was going to go buy some, and I went over there and there was an extra one, and so I purchased it. Or maybe Lois didn't purchase it and I stole it out of her cart. Who knows? If that's the case, sorry Lois, but it's mine now, and it matches my new Knittings My Bag bag. So, and this is gorgeous. Obviously, these are my colors, and I love it. One thing, oh, this is from Woolen Mill Street Yarn. I think that's what it is. Woolen Mill Street Yarn. And I really like it. It's Corriedale. And because I'm so new to all this fiber stuff, I'm not sure I'm going to like Corriedale, but we'll see. It seems like a more rougher fiber, and now as I'm thinking about it and touching it and hearing people talk about Corriedale on other podcasts, I guess Corriedale isn't as soft as, say, a BFL or a Merino or something like that. But we'll see how it goes. We'll try it. You know, worst come to worst is it's not going to be something that I want to wear next to my skin, and I'll just make a shawl or something with it. So that's that. And then at the same time, I also purchased this one. The purples and the greens. And again, this one is also Corriedale. So again, we'll see how it goes. I do like the colors with it. It's the green that I like, and the purple is just another color that I like in my wardrobe. Most of my wardrobe is very bright colors. I do have a few black t-shirts and whatnot that I wear, but most of the time I'm wearing a brightly colored shirt. But if I'm going to wear these brightly colored shawls, I'm going to need to have some plain t-shirts like black and white, which I normally don't wear a white t-shirt, but I wanted that Iris Mystery shawl to really pop by wearing it. And then Palette PC mentioned some stitch markers, and I took them out of the envelope and they're still in the bag. I haven't even had a chance to look at them, but I do plan on doing a little review on this at some point. But I wanted to show it here, and then I'll use them, and then I'll do a review at some point. But these are from Hide and Sheep, and this one is a row counter, and I'm not exactly sure how it works. I think this little piece right here, you move around. I don't know if it stretches or you just push it over. You have this is the part that goes on your needle, and then I guess, yeah, you just move that little ring around as you go. So I'm gonna use this and see how I like it, and then do a kind of a review on if I'll use it or not. Will probably be a prize at some point, because really I don't use a lot of stitch markers. I know that, like, for instance, a lot of the podcasters who are doing the Even Star, I don't know how many repeats that thing has, but they have stitch markers all the way around it, and I don't do stitch markers like that. I mean, even some of the other shawls, that they put stitch markers between each repeat, and I don't know, I guess it's just too much work for me, so I don't use a lot of stitch markers. I use it at the beginning of the row, or if I need to mark a decrease section so that I don't just fly by it. And then the second thing that I bought from Hide and Sheep is an increase-decrease stitch marker. And this I might use. And I'll try and take better pictures of these so you can see them up close. But this, what you do is, if you haven't, I think it's, in fact, I think the instructions are here in the center. Use the green ring increase row for an increase row, and the red ring for a decrease row. So there's three rings. There's the ring here. So if you don't have, if it's not an increase or a decrease row, you use the main one. If it's an increase row, you use the green. You put your needle through the green, and if it's a decrease row, you put it through the red. And then red and green make a lot of sense to me, because, you know, green go, red stop. You know, so I don't know if she has other ones that have different colors, but that makes a lot of sense to me. So I'll be playing with that one, and then let you know how that goes. So that's from Hide and Sheep. And then, I'm starting to run out of time, so I have to hurry. Then, I don't know if somebody posted about this or if I just happened to be trolling Etsy, but I found this. And this is from the Dying Arts, and it's hand dyed, and it's 50% merino and tencel. And what I liked about this is actually two separate pieces, and I'm not going to take it apart, but it is two separate bits of roving. I believe it's 2 ounces each, but they're dyed to coordinate together, which is cool. So you could do a 2-ply yarn, spin the one and spin the other, and then ply them together. But look how gorgeous that's going to be when it's plied together. You know, having those colors, the purples and the blues and the greens, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So that was a fun little purchase for me. It's got that tencel in it, and I'm liking the tencel better with the yarn hollow, but I'm still not 100% sure about it. I'm probably going to spin this one on my wheel, so it'll be like just to add something different. And then she also sent this little bit of, I guess it's just a sample, and it's superwash merino. So I'll spin that up. I don't know what I'll be able to make with that little bit, but it'll give me a chance to kind of test out her fiber and see how I like it. And then, last but not least, last week I mentioned that I was destashing some of my signatures so I could get the shorter needle length, and I did purchase 3 of the needles that I destashed. And I didn't get more because I bought everything else. Real quick before I end, I did want to mention that I got into the Trifecta of Awesome Yarn Club. Yay! And I'm very excited about that. I know that they only had 30 spots, and it was done in like a lottery. So I was one of the lucky few that was able to get in. So if you didn't get in, I'm really sorry that you didn't get in. But if you watch this podcast, you'll at least get to see the lovely goodness that we get in our packages, because I will show them here when they arrive. I believe that the first package is not supposed to be arriving until, I want to say, the end of August or the beginning of September. But we already received our invoices for the first round, and I paid that up, which is why I didn't buy more signatures, because part of my money this week went to that. So, but I have a lot of new stuff here this week and not enough space to store it, so I don't know what the heck I'm doing buying new stuff, because I don't have any space. And then in a month I'm going to be going to Stitches Midwest, and what am I going to do then? Speaking of Stitches Midwest, I do want to have something of a, I don't know if we'll have a meetup or just maybe, I don't know, what, if people are interested in meeting up and meeting me in person or whatever, I'd love to meet the viewers. I like to chat with people online and get to know you, and I know I was talking to Victoria, and I don't know what her Ravelry ID is off the top of my head, but I was talking to her on chat on Friday. And she was saying how she feels like she kind of knows the podcasters because, you know, she watches them each week and whatnot. And I kind of feel the same way when I'm watching other podcasters. So I'm okay with the fact that you think you know me, but I don't know you, so I'd like to get to know you. So anyway, I will be there Friday, all day on Friday. I'm arriving Thursday night. I will be there all day on Friday, and then I have to leave probably sometime mid-afternoon on Saturday. I have to get home so I can be home for Sunday that week. Unfortunately, I was hoping I would be able to stay the whole time, but fortunately I scheduled something with a little conflict, so I have to be back Saturday night so that I can do what I need to do on Sunday. So get in contact with me on the Ravelry boards if you are interested in doing a little meetup. Okay, I'm going to cut it off because I just hit 55 minutes. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any comments or questions, please post a post on the Ravelry thread or the comments in the blog. And have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye.